Welcome and welcome back to the stash. It's that scary time of the month again. That's right, a new issue of The Amazing Spider-Man is out now. We are somehow up to number 35, and you know what I'm gonna say? It gets worse. I mean, were you seriously expecting me to say something else? But a quick recap in case you haven't been caught up on the previous issues. Kraven the Hunter and Green Goblin teamed up to return Norman Osborn's sins to him, but their carefully laid plans went awry when Spider-Man took the blow instead. With the sins of the Green Goblin coursing through his body, vengeful Spider-Man brutalized Kraven and buried him alive before leaving to hunt down his ex-girlfriend Mary Jane and her new boyfriend Paul. Unable to let someone suffer like she had, Green Goblin has set out to stop Spider-Man before he does something he'll regret. Meanwhile, the still sin-free Norman dug Kraven up, but for what purpose? But before we find out why, be sure to like and subscribe for more Spider-Man content as we're getting closer to 600 subscribers, so any support here means the world. With that being said, let's get straight into the video. Our tale begins with Norman Osborn crafting a spear to be able to take his sins back from Peter and end this madness. Then to abruptly promote the next failure of The Amazing Spider-Man, we get a page of setup for the new gang war storyline coming soon. But who actually cares? They did that in the 80s or something, and no doubt the original story will be way better than whatever gets pumped up now. We cut back to the main story where Peter has finally caught up to Paul and Mary Jane, while Green Goblin tries to comfort him, but, well, that doesn't last too long now, does it? Mary Jane tells Paul to run as she knows that he's nowhere near safe next to a Peter with the mindset of all his fans. I mean, if you put Paul in a room with Spider-Man readers, it'd probably be like that one time the Blob met the Wasp. Anyway, we get this wonderful dialogue. Okay, whoa. Where'd you get that thing? Oh, right. He gave it to you. The weasel who took you from me. Then Mary Jane says that she's a big girl. Nobody took her anywhere. Then Peter follows with, then it was you. My jackpot. You betrayed me. Did you think you wouldn't pay? Okay. Then from out of nowhere, the Green Goblin attacks Peter, but he is saved by Mary Jane because she still cares for him. The writers might not like to admit it, but she does. Also, it's still so painful to see Mary Jane with powers. I've already gone over this many times before, it's just so pointless. Then a scene which got all Spider-Man fans out of their seats. Peter Parker almost killed Paul, but Mary Jane had to ruin it. Also, he said he's here to stay. Why does that feel like Zeb Wells is directly talking to us? Kraven and Peter tussle for a little bit, which leads to the Hunter gloating about how Spider-Man actually helped him by almost killing him since he didn't commit the S word, and now he knows he won't die by his own hand, unlike his father. So, I guess that's a positive. This directly follows to the moment in which Norman takes his sins back from Peter, and finally ending this edgy, evil Spider-Man bit. And now if you're on X or Twitter or whatever the hell you call it, then you've probably seen Peter and MJ fans rejoicing at these panels because in a sense it radiates a slither of hope, but I doubt anything will come from it. We then get like a pretty cool shot of Spidey web slinging by Patrick Gleason. To be honest, he's just been carrying this book so hard right now. I mean, the book ends with what seems to be Norman slowly becoming the Green Goblin again, but that was sort of expected, wasn't it? Like, we knew that good Norman Osborn wouldn't last that long. But now it is time for my thoughts of this issue, so let's get straight into it. If I'm being 100% honest, this story was just so disappointing. Like, it could be because I'm reaching the apathy stage when it comes to this series, however, it just kind of all fell flat. Like, I guess this started off as cool in a sense, and I adore Gleason's pencils, but as soon as Peter went after Paul and MJ, things just started to deflate. Like, Pete didn't really do anything except when he hunted Kraven, and I guess beating up Norman counts. Though I feel like if he was prepared to drop Paul off a building, at the very least, he would have done way worse to Norman. Like, I would have liked to see Peter actually hurt someone that wasn't a criminal, to actually hammer in how far he's fallen. Like, have him actually beat the shit out of Paul like he did Norman, or maybe even see him go after Jonah. People that have wronged him, but aren't really evil. But now it all kind of felt useless. It's just so stupid. They hyped this up as one of the darkest Spider-Man stories yet, but there wasn't really much dark stuff occurring in this story. Not only that, but it barely sets up anything besides Green Goblin coming back. And that doesn't even get into the crappy Mary Jane dialogue, which feels like Zeb Wells was just trying to mock the audience while completely ignoring the problem. This was just a boring and useless event. It was a complete joke. In the end, there was no real consequence, and of course, Spider-Man was still nerfed. Like, wow, evil Peter getting the shit kicked out of him by Queen Goblin, despite faring far better against her on 2 different occasions. And we can't forget about Mary Jane needing to save him, and also the expected breakdown with him apologizing to MJ. It's like Zeb Wells really can't stop himself from humiliating Peter. What happened to his spider sense? Something mentioned literally in the opening credits when describing Spider-Man. In this entire series, he's been so unbelievably weak. How did he go from knocking out Firelord to this shit? You know what? Every time I see an issue of the amazingly tortured Spider-Man, my theory is that Paul is actually Mephisto in disguise, and that he has secretly been in love with Mary Jane all along. And this is like one big massive plan of trying to steal Mary Jane away from Peter so then she can be his queen in hell. I mean, it feels more and more plausible by each issue. And if you keep up to date with this channel, you'd know that I actually skipped last issue. I didn't make a video on it. That's because this series is so bad and so mentally draining. I could not be bothered to try and wreck my mind around it, like as a sort of review for that comic. This series is so bad. It is the worst Spider-Man volume in history, and I'm just so tired. I don't understand why it's so difficult to have a monthly Spider-Man comic come out that's actually enjoyable to read. How is that too much to ask for? I've just been starting to read Ultimate Spider-Man again because that's something that I actually enjoy reading. Opposed to this shit, so that's something. And what do we really have to look forward to? Green Goblin returning for the millionth time, or gang wars happening for the millionth time? Nothing's exciting about this book. There's nothing happening. The status quo is slowly reverting back to normal in a sense with Green Goblin returning, but who really cares at this point? In fact, this is like a whole big cycle of Spider-Man books, considering there's a new Ultimate Spider-Man series coming out. Like, they have Mary Jane and Peter divorce. No, wait, it's shitty Ben Reilly stories. Peter and Mary Jane are, like, happy. Then all of a sudden, they're like, separated. Then Ultimate Spider-Man comes in. Then they get back together. Isn't that, like, how the cycle goes? I guess we could hope for that, in a sense, but I really doubt this shit. They seem to really hate Mary Jane. Ever since One More Day, she has been written so poorly, it's just not even funny anymore. But I would love to hear what you guys think of this issue down below in the comment section. We can start a conversation. If you have enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because here any support means so much. And be sure to join us next time for more Spider-Man content. Same web time, same web channel. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one.